Hi, this is Arnold Mangioli for Grateful, Ready, Open, Willing on Thanksgiving Day. Thanksgiving. Giving thanks. This day of thanks and giving. Marlo Thomas has a wonderful CD from years ago which I play not just at Thanksgiving, and it's called Thanks and Giving. And it's filled with wonderful songs and stories from various celebrities of the day about thanks and about giving. I always say to my students how wonderful it is that in this country, as in Canada and several other countries throughout the world, we celebrate this harvest festival, this time of giving thanks, this time of just pausing for a moment and giving thanks. And how important that is. It's the G in grateful, ready, open, willing. So what if we just took a moment now? Now is a good time. The point of power is always in the present moment, as Louise Hay teaches us. What if we just took a moment and gave thanks? You know, I had a beautiful experience this morning. My mom, who is in her 90s, she had her COVID booster shot this week, as well as her flu shot. And we woke up this morning and my partner had a little bit of a cold, no big deal. But might be a big deal being around someone in their 90s who just had two various flu shots now. So we decided to put the day on hold. All of the food is made. And we're going to give it a day or two and then go up and celebrate with her. So I explained this to her earlier today on the phone, and I said to her, he's got a little bit of a cold, so we were going to come up today, but instead we're going to come up on Saturday and we'll celebrate together then. But all the food is made. We cooked all day yesterday for about 10 hours. We made everything. It's all in the fridge, and we'll be able to bring it all up. And Mom just gasped and she said, "Oh, that is so beautiful. What a beautiful thing to do. And I so appreciate it, and I want you to know I'm very touched by that." It was so beautiful, just the appreciation of the meal. And this is a woman who has cooked for celebrations and expressed love that way for so many years of her life, and her whole lifetime really. And so it was so beautiful to see her appreciation of the gift of cooking, caretaking, giving of your time and your heart. And that's a big part of the celebration of what we do on this particular day, festival, feast, great word for it, feast. So I have two thoughts today. One is, what are you grateful for? And the other is some tips for Thanksgiving, for giving thanks, for thanks and giving. What are you grateful for? Not the marketing emails. Oh my God, is your email box like mine today? It's like Bed Bath & Beyond and JetBlue, and every company in the world is so grateful for you and giving thanks and just wants you to buy some stuff. Wow. That was like delete. Let's get that out of the way. That's not what it's about. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for this group and for us being together and getting to have this communication as show business people, as creative people, as life livers of life. Sounds like a weird word, doesn't it? Livers. I'm grateful for my liver. I am grateful for my liver. I hope you are too. Grateful for yours. I find myself filled with thanks today for so many things. Not just the colors of the leaves, which as I look out the window are blissful and glorious and magnificent. I mean, I live in New York. I'm looking at a brick wall, but I'm imagining all those beautiful things. I'm grateful for social media, which is not my number one thing, not one of my favorite things in the world, but it enables us to communicate and share these thoughts together. I'm grateful for the internet, for these ways of doing these things, and that so many voices we might not hear otherwise reach us. We get to listen absorb, hear, experience artists and creativity and thinkers and all the people who share with us this way. I'm grateful for computers. I'm grateful for this being recorded right now, because being a good little Italian boy at Thanksgiving, yesterday I was holding a giant bottle of olive oil, pouring it into the filling for the stuffed mushrooms, and it slipped out of my hands and dropped right onto this computer and leaked all over it and went into keys. And I quickly Googled and followed the instructions to turn it upside down on a cloth soaked with alcohol to try to absorb the olive oil out of it. And I thought, what a fine ending for this Italian boy's computer. I'm grateful for my partner, just the most wonderful guy in the world. Renting cars, driving my 90-something mother around to get her various COVID booster shots and other things she needs. I love you, partner. I'm grateful for getting to be with my mom, and that I will again on Saturday, God willing. I'm grateful for work again. So many of us are having work again, and many of us not yet, and that is okay. This is a slow coming back from this, and we're not back yet. We want to act like we're back yet, and we're all tired of the lockdowns and the quarantines and the pandemics. We're all tired of that, so we're ready for it to be over, but it isn't over yet, and our comeback is gradual and bumpy, and some people are getting work and some people are not. I totally get that. Let's let go of any resentment or ill feeling, and let's just build back together in community and supporting one another and loving. And any one of us who gets work, that's a victory for all of us. I've been very lucky because I'm blessed with the most wonderful associates and staff in the entire world. I love you guys. I am so grateful to you. We had our first in-person dance call a few weeks ago. That was a big deal, our first since pre-pandemic times. And it was a non-equity dance call, so there weren't a lot of strict regulations for us to follow, and we had to make up as many as we could to put in place, keeping everyone safe, limiting the number of people in the room, signing up through Sign Up Genius, and having people submit their pictures and resumes and details through Google Forms, and creating that into Google Sheets, and keeping track of the actors, and giving space on the internet for the creative team members to have their notes. And to my associates, thank you for doing all of that, because I couldn't have done it. Not just I couldn't have done it without you. I couldn't have done that. It's not my my world that I traverse in. But you did it, and I'm so grateful to you, Lindsay in particular, for making that happen. What an incredible blessing. And it went really well, by the way, and we got an incredible cast together, and everyone felt safe, and as far as we're aware, there was no incident, and I'm just so grateful for that. I was at a CSA meeting with casting directors, much larger offices than myself, and I asked them what systems they were using, and they all just kind of stared at me on the Zoom call and said, "Arnold, none of us have had an in-person dance call back yet. You're one of the first. So tell us what you're doing, because it sounds amazing." So that was a surprise to me. Today's parade, wasn't that wonderful to see Broadway's slow and gradual and bumpy return, and let's embrace that. But how wonderful to see Broadway shows, to see a hit like Six perform, and how fun it is to have a Broadway hit again of a new musical with new creative teams on Broadway. Thrilling. Flo Rothacker, I love you. I think of you every Thanksgiving morning. Flo, for those of you who know, was a pretty big agent in the New York theater scene at one time some years ago, and had an office at 1501 Broadway, where my office is now, in the Paramount Building. And because her windows overlooked the parade route, she would host this amazing Thanksgiving party every Thanksgiving morning. And we would all get to watch the parade from her windows. And that is an example of doing what we can with what we have, sharing what we have. And I don't know if she even had any idea, if you, Flo, had any idea at the time, the memories that would create for us, and the glorious, like, Thanksgiving Day parade, being in New York, special times, and cherished memories and thoughts of looking out those windows at the balloons at eye height, and how remarkable that was for all of us, and what a great gift you gave us, just because you worked with what you had and you so generously and so lovingly gave it to so many of us. And thank you for that. Every Thanksgiving morning when I watch the parade, I think of that, and I think of how blissful and glorious a gift that is, and how we're all capable of that. We're all capable of giving what we have, and we never know, the pebble in the lake and the concentric circles that it goes out to infinity, and the people it can affect and the lives it can make better. Just look at what we have and let's give it and share it. Flo, you're an angel. You're a great example to all of us of what we can do. The meal, I'm so grateful for the meal, the Harvest Festival. It's such a beautiful thing to celebrate our abundance and to celebrate flavors and the season and all the beautiful traditional dishes. My partner and I are making dishes that his grandmother or my grandmother made. I think about that. I think about the Thanksgiving stuffing that I make every year, and how my grandmother was not following a recipe. She made it up, and it's the most delicious stuffing I've ever had. And I just am so amazed by that these women in this time period were able to combine ingredients and make things that were so incredible. She sauteed a little sausage and took a little Parmesan cheese and some almonds, and of course every stuffing is sauteing the celery and onions together at the beginning and adding bread cubes and all kinds of things from there. And all of these women in my family and in yours who develop these recipes that we celebrate, and we celebrate them, and we celebrate our individual heritage and our collective heritage. There is such beauty to this holiday. I'm so moved by it, this holiday of Thanksgiving. I call it Giving Thanks Day. I always wish people a happy Giving Thanks Day, to drive home the soul of it, or at least as it is to me. I heard something this morning on one of the Thanksgiving parade shows that Abraham Lincoln made the Thanksgiving holiday back in 1863, and Congress didn't make it an official national holiday until 1941. And I think of it as having always been there since the Pilgrims and Indians, at least as I learned it, let's say Native Americans and Pilgrims, celebrated together that harvest in the 1600s. But actually, it's only from 1941 that we celebrate this as an official national holiday. I'm grateful for the awakening of America, that parade this morning, the dance by the Native American group and people of color. So the Broadway for Black Lives Matter movement has brought people of color so much further. And I've been so involved in Broadway for several decades of my life, my whole career. And I've always worked toward that. But seeing the fruition that it's bearing just in the past year, it was a joy to watch, to see this progression. And I know it's bumpy, and I know it's not perfect, and I know we have so much further to go. But can we also celebrate the victories of where we are? And while we're celebrating, let me offer some tips for this Giving Thanks Day. Gratitude. If you keep it focused on gratitude, I find it's bound to go somewhere good. My starting place is always gratitude. I don't get all freaked out about how difficult or complicated a job is, or how difficult somebody on the creative team might be to work with, or all the various things we deal with in show business or in our lives or in our creative lives. Nope. I just start with being grateful for the job and grateful to work with these wonderful people. Doing what we love means everything to me. Kindness. Kindness is a great tip. Let's just be kind. Let's be kind to one another. Let's be kind to the store clerks and the delivery people and the subway conductors who get us to and fro, and all the people to whom we owe this debt of gratitude for making this holiday possible for us. It takes a village. Compassion. Compassion is a great tip for celebrating Thanksgiving. Let's be compassionate with one another and with ourselves and with our family members and with whomever we end up together with celebrating this holiday. And if not, if you're on your own, let's be compassionate to ourselves and joyful and kind and grateful and start from there instead of starting from a place of feeling isolated or like some holiday is happening somewhere that's so fabulous without us. It's not. It's all who we are and what we have to give. Like my friend Flo. Taste. That's a great tip for Thanksgiving. And yes, I mean taste as in how you choose your curtains and all of that. But also taste as one of our senses. Let's experience Thanksgiving, this Giving Thanks Day, with all our senses. And instead of rushing through the food and being concerned about getting it cooked right and heating it up and all the details of it, let's just taste it and enjoy that sensation. Let's experience it with all of our senses. The taste of the sweet potatoes or cranberry sauce or stuffing or dressing or turkey or whatever you eat in this festival of the harvest to celebrate our abundance, our prosperity, all we have for which to be grateful. Take the pressure off. That's a good tip. Take the pressure off. I know it's a big meal. It feels overwhelming. There's all the timing of things, traveling, getting together with family. Okay, take the pressure off. Mistakes are allowed. Louise Hay reminds us it is okay to make mistakes while learning. Let's take the pressure off. Here's another tip. Be where you are. There's that Zen saying, be where you are, otherwise you will miss most of your life. Let's just be where we are. I know that especially in live theater right now, we're all feeling this kind of like, well, pandemic's over, we're back, we have to be. Pandemic is not over. We are coming back. It's a process. We don't know if it'll take another 2 or 3 months or another season or 2 or another year or 2 or 3 or 10. We don't know. Let's just be where we are in this time of transition and this time of change, and let's just embrace this gift of this grand pause and this time for reflection and this time to rethink and this time to look again and look anew at all the gifts that we have in our work, in our creative lives, in who we are and who we get to be, and that we're a part of bringing this all back somehow, and none of us really know how. But slowly but surely there are things happening that weren't able to happen a year ago. How wonderful. Another tip, let's center ourselves in this season of giving. You know, it's so wonderful how the holidays, at least here in the States, and even in Canada where it's earlier, it happens in October, the States' Columbus Day is Canadian Thanksgiving. But let's center ourselves that from there through the new year, there's all these holidays. I mean, there's Hanukkah and Christmas and solstice and New Year's Eve and New Year's Day and Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and all these wonderful holidays to celebrate. And they're so very much about giving. We exchange gifts, whether in the 8 nights of Hanukkah or whether in at Christmas or whatever the various cultural and traditional holidays you or your family or I or anyone might follow. They're so based in giving. And we begin the holiday season with Thanksgiving. It makes so much sense to give thanks and then to continue to give presents, to give love. And I want to say about that, it doesn't have to be all about buying. It can be about creating. It can be about sharing. Gifts can be photographs that you've looked up or scanned and given to someone, a drawing that you give to someone, a creative project or a craft project or an act of kindness, something we give. These are all possible ways of giving. And I know that the corporate monsters would have you believe that unless you rush out on Black Friday and spend all this money and buy these things, no, not the way I would ever choose to go. We have time. It's November 25th. We have another month till Christmas. Great. Let's just take time to think about the people we love. Let's give thanks for those people in our lives. And then let's figure out how we can give to them from our hearts. And the right answer will come to you. Here's another tip. Helping those less fortunate than ourselves enables us to appreciate how fortunate we are. I always think of this friend I knew years ago who used to say, this woman who lived in his building, her name was Annie, and he'd see her every morning, and he'd say, "How are you today, Annie?" And she'd say, "Oh, I'm doing fine." And he'd say, "Why are you doing so fine, Annie?" And she'd say, "Because I've got hot and cold running water, and 90% of the world does not." And I always think of that. And I always think of how wonderful it is to appreciate how fortunate we are with what we have. You know, food on the table, a roof over our head. And we can help the people who don't have that. It's a beautiful thing. Here's another tip for Thanksgiving. Welcome change. This pandemic, it's still a time of change and flux for so many people. Austria just locked down again. Europe is having more lockdowns. There's a new variant that was just discovered in Africa just in the past 10 hours, I think I read about. Or maybe it's just that there's 10 cases so far. But this is still going on. It's changing all the time. You know, that Yiddish proverb, you want to make God laugh? Make plans. It happens. Let's welcome change. Let's welcome when our plans get disrupted and trust that the universe is bringing us to a better path. My final Thanksgiving tip is try something new. I watched Darren Criss singing Hippopotamus for Christmas at the parade this morning, and it just made me smile. Darren was a student of mine when I did a workshop out at University of Michigan. And you know, University of Michigan has such a prestigious, well-known musical theater program. Darren was in the drama program where I went and did a workshop with him and other students there. And it's really interesting because he turned out to have quite a musical theater career, and my gosh, a spectacular career, winning an Emmy Award for his performance in the Versace television series that was done. And he's a great Filipino-American actor and performer. And he sings. And he wasn't in the musical theater program, but he tries stuff. He takes creative risks. Wonderful, wonderful man. Keeps that beginner's mindset that we can all learn from. Let's just have that beginner's mindset. Let's just try something new. Try a new dish for Thanksgiving. Try a new tradition. That Black Friday, it does not happen in stores. It happens at home with thinking about not what we can buy, but in our hearts what we can give. A beginner's mindset is such a powerful, powerful thing when we admit what we don't know. And let's face it, no one knows anything. I know that sounds like so Buddhist, but it is. It's true. Look at the world around us right now. Nobody really knows how to do what we're doing. And we're moving forward because we all have a beginner's mindset about trying to embrace it and figure out this new way. Let that be a comfort. I know that can feel counterintuitive because we want to make plans and we want to rehearse the show and we want to perform it and have our opening night and go. We have a way of doing things. And when that is upended, we can sometimes feel like, well, what do we? But let's try it. Something new. Happy Giving Thanks Day. I'm thankful for you. This is Arnold Mangioli for Grateful, Ready, Open, Willing, and it's been a joy spending a little time together. Okay, I'm going to go continue to clean the olive oil out of my keyboard. Happy Thanksgiving.